All right, testing 1 2 1 2 3. Let's see if we can get everybody back in here again. Actually, am I recording or am I live? Okay, here we go. See if we can get everybody back in here on Vol Society Live. Let's see. All right. Can everybody hear me? Does this sound better? Leave in the comment. All right, let's see here. Everybody's tuning back in. Does this sound good? I'm getting it working. All right, good. I apologize. I don't know what happened there. Good old technology seems to rear his ugly head sometimes. All right, so let's kind of start all over again. Welcome everybody to Vol Society Live. I'm David Morris. I'm the Vol Society lead analyst. Let's just kind of start over again. So we'll start back with Tennessee and Pitt. So like I said, Tennessee defeated Pitt 34-27. Like I said, just an emotional game all the way around. The highs and the lows of being a Tennessee fan. The biggest takeaway for me was Tennessee find a way to grind out a win. It's been way too long since we seen that. And, like I said, just I'm very happy to see that for the most part. Like I said, just we've seen this way too many times over the years where Tennessee gives games away. Something funky always happens that causes us to lose games, and all of a sudden we find a way to grind out a win. Saturday was we were pretty much kind of giving the game away to Pitt, and we'll kind of break it down throughout the evening. But like I said, it was a great showing for Tennessee. Brad, our founder, says Florida game's already sold out, so that's good news to hear. Glad to see that. I know our founder's going to be up at Florida here next week. Brad says going to be undefeated going into Florida game, and it's going to be epic. All right, we're working now. I'm glad we are. I don't know what happened with the headset. This has been working great. Unless I hit something stupid, but hey, we're as long as we're good now. That's all that matters. All right, so I'll go ahead and kind of break down the stats again, so we kind of get back into some sort of a direction here. Hendon Hooker Saturday night. 27 for 42, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, QBR rating of 82.5, one SEC Offensive Player of the Week. So congratulations to Hendon Hooker. And then the rushing game, unfortunately, wasn't much like I wanted to see. Like I said, Jalen Wright led the team in rushing with 9 carries for 47 yards. Jabari Small had a couple of touchdowns in the red zone, but he's only 10 carries for 17 yards. Hendon Hooker struggled kind of running throughout the night. 15 carries for 27 for himself. Of course, a couple of those were sacks. But, like I said, they find a way to grind out a win. Cedric Tillman had a great game. 9 catches for 162 yards and a touchdown. He got targeted quite a bit. And Eddie says we dropped too many passes. We did. I mean, can you imagine if Tillman had a couple of those catches? I mean, it would have been fantastic. Probably could have set school records with that. Kevin says, Vol Society, yes, sir. As soon as it came out, loved it. John says, I hope we do the checkerboard for Florida. I'm hearing we might be doing the checkerboard for Florida, so that'd be pretty cool to see. Hopefully, it will come out with a better result in the end. Let's see. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I think that's what's causing it here. I'm gonna turn this iPad off right here. Let's see if that will help out. There we go. All right. Jalen Hyatt on the night, 11 catches for 73 yards. Brew McCoy, 4 catches, 58 yards, got his first Tennessee touchdown. So congratulations to Brew McCoy. He has really picked up this offense very well. Excited to see what he has done so far. Jacob Warren had 1 catch for 24 yards, almost got a touchdown, but was down near the goal line. Still looking for that first touchdown for Jacob Warren on the year. He was my impact player coming in this year. Princeton Fan, 1 catch, 8 yards. And that's pretty much about it. Brad says a bet will happen as far as Jacob Warren goes. Got to throw to Brew more. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Brew. We need to target Brew a little bit more as we go throughout this season. Like I said, he had a great game against Pitt. I want to see him kind of be that number 2 or number 3 wide receiver, and I think he's getting there. But like I said, target him a lot more along the way. I wonder what threads we will wear against Florida. Kevin's saying, I'm not sure. Well, I was gonna say maybe go dark mode. I don't know. It just kind of all depends. I mean, like I said, it's still. I guess it depends on the weather a little bit. I know Tennessee's wearing the all orange on Saturday against Akron. They announced that today. Brad says if we can play like we should, I think we can crush Florida. Hey, it could happen. We had a discussion tonight at our church meal about is about can Tennessee crush Florida, and some good debating there. Kevin says I hope so. Dark mode is beast. That would be really cool. But we were kind of having a little debate about that, going back and forth. And I think, yeah, like I said, I think there's a possibility we can beat Florida. It just all depends on if we could contain Anthony Richardson. Teresa saying a go big orange. Hello to you. Eddie says I'm kind of disappointed with Mays blocking. Yeah. I wonder if hopefully it's just a sophomore slump. He's kind of going through. I mean, like I said, he's our main center, and he's got to be one of the better blockers up on front. Like I said, as soon as you snap the ball, you got to get ready. So we'll have to go. I'll have to see there. Brad says dark mode is my favorite. Gray reminds me too much of of Lyle Jones. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, pretty much. I guess a lot of that does fall into his tenure there, but we'll see. I mean, I have a smoky gray jersey, so along with all the others. But anyways, let's see here. Kind of looking at some of the as far as the defense goes. The big discussion we had last week was not pressuring the quarterback. Hello to my grandparents watching along. We were not pressuring the quarterback, did not get to Ball State at all. Well, that completely flipped the script. We pressured Keenan Slovis the entire game, knocked him out in the second quarter. Nick Patty came in. Nick Patty put up a great effort there in the second half. He got banged up from our defense. Just unreal. Kevin says our defense was a plus last game and hopefully stays and get after the quarterback. Absolutely. I was even watching Josh Pate, host of Late Kick Live, and he said Tennessee. His opinion was Tennessee won a game because of their defense. And when was the last time you could say that? So, like I said, good praise from there. John says running quarterbacks always gives us problems, so I hope we have a spy on Richardson. Yeah, like I said, Richardson is not going to beat you with his arm, but like I said, those legs can get you, and we've seen it year after year after year. Last year Matt Corral, that Ole Miss game really hurt us, especially on those third down runs. And Young at Alabama, Bennett at Georgia, even though he doesn't really have the speed, but he knows where to go. So, like I said, we're just going to have to find a way to contend Anthony Richardson. And like I said, Boss Society, like I said, make sure to follow the podcast, Good Old Rocky Talk. That's TALK, not top. We do like the top, but it's talk. All across our podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, and Amazon. Yeah, and also, where are you watching tonight? I know we had a bunch of responses, and then I don't know. See, I'll go ahead and kind of tell you what I was doing with the technical difficulties, and I think this is what caused it. So I had on Pluto TV on my iPad, just kind of had it on. So I kind of wonder if, kind of watching Pluto and trying to do this show kind of like interfered some sort of signal. So I've got it off right now. So maybe that's what it was, because I kind of looked over and I think that's what it was causing. John's watching this from Knoxville. Eddie says we can't let Akron be an Appy State. That's true. I don't see Akron being an Appy State. Akron is not really a good team at all. And I'll give you kind of my score prediction. I will say, if you do want to find a concern, maybe Florida's looking ahead to, or excuse me, Tennessee's looking ahead to Florida, maybe overlooking Akron a little bit, but they're bad. Andy, our good buddy of mine, Andy, watching from Cleveland tonight. I've known Andy for a long time, so thanks for joining us, Andy, tonight. John says, I don't believe we will because this team has a lot to prove. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I expect a big performance on Saturday. Let's see here. Go ahead and kind of pull Akron's preview up. I mean, right now the point spread for Saturday is 47.5 point favorite for Tennessee. So it opened up at 50 and it's kind of dropped down to 47. On the ESPN Football Power Index, Tennessee is a 99.2 favorite to beat Akron. So I think the odds are kind of in our favor. Kind of look at some stats for Akron. So the quarterback they're probably going to roll out with is DJ Irons. He's right now on the year, 409 yards passing, couple touchdowns, QBR of a wonderful 30.2. So that's not really good at all. Their leading rusher is Wiley at 114 yards. Leading receiver is Jacques Lewis at 153 yards. Kevin says, I hate that I can't watch this next game on the SEC Plus app, ESPN Plus. That I don't get. Yeah, that's kind of the part I really don't like about this new revamped TV package is putting a lot of games on these streaming apps. But this is the future of television, unfortunately. That's kind of one of the reasons I'm definitely going, because while I do have the ESPN app, I know it's kind of hard to sync it all up and try to find it. So yeah, I guess if I'm gonna go watch it, or if I want to watch the game, might as well just pay for it. It's basic. Yeah, like I said, Brad just said. Remember having to buy a pay-per-view game on the box. So I guess that's the closest thing to it, except you're not shelling out $40 or whatever. John score prediction 62-13. That's very close to what I've got. I have 62-3 or 61-3 for Saturday. Yeah, not much to talk about Akron. I mentioned this on the podcast. Joe Moorhead, former Mississippi State head coach, is now the head coach at Akron. This is his first year taking over Tom Arth, former Chattanooga Mock head coach, who had a terrible record both at Chattanooga and at Akron. So he's now at Akron, taking over there. They got shut out by Michigan State over the weekend, so this is not a good team we're facing. My main thing I want to see for Saturday is just Tennessee just go out there, clean up their mistakes from Pitt, stay healthy, and get ready for Florida. I think it's going to be kind of similar to the Ball State game. Probably show a little bit more, probably put up a little bit more points because now there's tape out there of us as far as what we can run. But I think for the most part, just go in there, put up a big number, and then go on. Okay, bro. Did anyone see the reporter who asked Akron's coach this week about Tennessee, who lost the Pitt this weekend? Akron's coach had. Oh, that's pretty good. Wow. Interesting. Like I said, these comments are keep coming with your comments. Keep coming with your score predictions. Don't forget about the hashtag if you want to ask a question for the podcast. Like I said, I'm not kind of like I said, I'm not expecting a whole lot out of Saturday. Just put up some big numbers, get our starters in there for probably the first half, and then throw Joe Milton out there in the second half or Taven Jackson. Just under Brad said that really happened. Look it up. So funny. I'll check it out after the show. Yeah, like I said, I'm not expecting a whole lot. Any others? Turn my phone back on here. Okay. Anyways, anything you want to talk about? I said that, it's kind of Akron week, not a whole lot going on. I mean, the Pitt game was just emotional. Yeah, like Brad said, nothing to report uh, with being Akron. I will say this: the last time Tennessee played Akron was 10 years ago. I was at that game, and my big memory of that game, it's kind of a scary moment too. So Terry Bowden, former Auburn coach, now at Louisiana Monroe, he was the coach at Akron 10 years ago, and I remember when Akron played Tennessee the last time. Akron's team's bus was coming down gate 10. That's usually where the visiting tunnel is. And I remember when Terry Bowden was stepping off the bus, he slipped off the bus and fell on the concrete. He was okay. He just kind of stumbled and lost his balance, but kind of a scary moment. And I remember seeing that live. But that's about that's a lot my memory of Akron from the last time. Okay, Andy said, "Do you think Florida will play the Ole Miss card if we start running our fast pace?" I see every opponent doing that, Andy. We saw it last week with Pitt. It didn't see it a whole lot with Ball State, but I say once we get into these highly contested SEC games, I see everybody doing it. Florida, maybe Alabama, uh, Kentucky. Uh, I think they're all going to be doing it. Main thing is just trying to get frustrated about it. Uh, let's see. Brad says favorite restaurant to eat at on game day in Knoxville. Let's hear everyone's answer and go. Uh, mine's a little different. Uh, Let's see. Oh, John says, who's all going to the Florida game? I'll be there decked out in orange and white. Brad says he's going to be there. Uh, Andy says thought the same thing during Pitt. Um, hey, let me get to Eddie's question, and I'll get back to my little game day tradition or food. I thought they were going to do something to stop the fake crimes. They're kind of monitoring them, but it's just, it's nothing really. Unfortunately, they didn't really force anything. I've mentioned this before. It's kind of hard when it comes to the fake cramps and the injuries. It's one of those like if you force it and then there's a real injury, then you're going to look real bad with it. My main thing is if we're getting ready to snap the ball and you're lined up to play, and then all of a sudden you go down with an injury, I think that's where there should be some sort of penalty or whatever. But if you're already down, yeah, it could be fake, but that one time it could hurt. So anyways, Miss K says, "Love Vol Society. Good job, guys. I'm proud. Who would have thought those Ingleside boys would do this? I know it. Crazy." Bryce says, "Good. Gus is good time daily. The best." So mine is a little different as far as my game day traditions go. So where I live in McMinn County, Tennessee, uh, I go to Foothills Mall in Maryville and take the bus from there to save some money in parking, and it's a little bit more easier to get in and get out. So I usually don't eat in Knoxville too much. I try to eat in Maryville or Alcoa. Uh, cheddars. I like cheddars in Alcoa. I like. Sometimes I'll stop at Hooters. Depends on the time of day. Uh, kind of, or maybe swing by Chick-fil-A or something. So if you want to hear a big discussion about Knoxville food, check out the podcast. We went real deep with that and almost skipped Jamie's question. So Eddie says, or make a rule, you have to stay out for 2 series, and then he goes Litton's. It's his favorite place. Yeah, it's so weird. For me being in Knoxville so much, like I've not hit the big popular places like Litton's, Yeo Steakhouse, Gus's. It's just one of those. I don't know why I never ventured out that way. I need to. Just kind of a weird scenario. I do like Texas Roadhouse and Turkey Creek. So if I had to pick a Knoxville restaurant, it's kind of where I usually go. I've been there several game days. Depends on who I'm with. But yeah, keep it coming. Trying to think of some others here. As far as what we discussed on the podcast, we really went deep on the Pitt game there. Yeah, Bryce says Texas Roadhouse rolls. Yes, you they'll fill you up, and Brad's now hungry. Yeah, we had a big discussion of that on the podcast. Yeah, keep those coming. Okay, Brad, what's your score for Saturday from your mom? Actually, forgotten I was even on the podcast. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm drawing a blank now. I still think 61-3. I think it's going to be you're going to have an empty Neyland Stadium by halftime. 148-0. I love it. Yeah, keep coming. Whatever score predictions you have, let us know in the comments. Like I said, just not much to really talk about with Akron. I think I said Brad says I think 63-0. Eddie's going 49-6. Miss K says stop it. Oh goodness. Very funny. Oh, want to give another shout out to Megan and Alyssa. Thank you for name dropping me on Tea Time Crimes, their latest episode. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, so Brad, our founder's wife, has a podcast called Tea Time Crimes, and where it's Megan and Alyssa. They drink tea and talk about true crime. So if you're into true crimes podcast, make sure you check out Tea Time Crimes. And thank you for shouting me out, which I totally forgot I shout you all out. Oh, Alana. I'm sorry. I called it Alana. So it's Megan and Alana. I said Alyssa. I apologize. So I don't know who. I don't know what I'm talking about. And I guess I got to thank David. Eddie's watching us from Tri Cities. Yeah, like I said, who's watching from the farthest place from Tennessee tonight? That'd be interesting. I know we had a lot of them. Kevin with a question for the podcast using the hashtag Gort Podcast. Thank you, Kevin. We will try to answer that. Like I said, Brad's watching us from Charlotte tonight. I'm in the heart of McMinn County in Athens, nestled between Chattanooga and Knoxville. Like I said, tailgate. We got tailgate Thursday tomorrow. I'll go ahead and, even though I'm already now, you'll hear it tomorrow. Our high school spotlight game of the week is going to be Franklin Road Academy and Lipscomb Academy. So that will be our high school spotlight game of the week. We'll talk more about that as the week goes on. Kevin watching us from Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. Bill from Chicago. Bill's been on several of these shows. Welcome in, sir. And also Kevin, a huge Vault Society follower. Helps spread the name out. Appreciate it, sir. Getting a hey, Bill. Like I said, I'll go ahead and my niece is watching from Loudon, Tennessee. Yeah, awesome. Welcome into the Vol Society. I'll go ahead and throw this question out to the audience. After 2 weeks, have you changed your prediction so far? Are you adding more wins to your prediction, or are you subtracting wins? Is there now a toss-up game that may have been a favorite to Tennessee, or maybe you didn't think Tennessee was going to win? What do you think about what do you think going on? Brad's asking who's going to the far game. Kathy watching us from Arkansas. Hello, Kathy. Brad still thinks 10 wins. So I had 9-3. My losses was Georgia, Alabama, and LSU. But now I'm starting to feel very confident about that LSU game. I still think we can beat Kentucky. That was another discussion we had at our church meal tonight about that Kentucky game. And, I can see Florida being a bit of a toss-up game, but it's going to be kind of something similar to Pitt. I feel a little bit more confident about Florida than I do Pitt. John says, I'm still at 9 to 10 wins on the year. Okay, so I think everybody's still feeling pretty confident about your wins and loss totals. South Carolina, I wouldn't say a toss-up, but I just really didn't know what to expect. But now I'm feeling very confident going out of Columbia. I don't even know if Spencer Rattler may be the quarterback by then. Brad says, all these teams have flaws this year. You saw this past weekend, Bama almost lost it. Yeah. Refs kind of built them out there. Kevin says, I don't want to make a prediction for this game because I missed the last one, But you did get the sacks right with 4. Yeah, you did get it right. I said 3, and I was way off. Well, actually, not way off. I guess I was right. I wasn't expecting us to really go after Keenan Slovis like we did, and Nick Patty. I thought we would have probably got to him, but maybe play somewhat safe. But no, they went right after him, and like I said, we knocked Slovis out in the second quarter. Trying to think. Yeah, I think some concerns, and I mentioned this on the podcast. One of our questions was, oh, let me read Bill's here. In Pittsburgh for the game, but never made it to watch the game from the hotel due to COVID. Oh, I'm sorry, Bill. Hate to hear that. Hopefully you're feeling better. Bryce says, I truly think we might be undefeated going into Bama. It could happen. I mentioned this on the podcast. We had a question asked what you want to see the team improve going into Florida. Yeah, Eddie says Cripple Patty almost beat us. Absolutely. He played better than I thought. The special teams, I'm kind of concerned about special teams a little bit. Like I said, the Paxton Brooks block punt. Hopefully it was just a fluke. But then Flowers ended up fumbling. I guess we were so blessed with Velus Jones Jr. last year in the special teams, and now we're trying to find who's going to kind of fill those shoes. And to me, that's kind of a concern. We need to clean that up with Akron. Like I said, whether it's going to be Flowers or get somebody else out there, even calling a fair catch, set up good field position, and continue to roll here. That's kind of a concern to me. Secondary is also a concern too. I'm still not buying Kenneth George. I mean, I wish he can improve somewhat, but it's not looking good right now. Miss K says, I would give anything if Alabama didn't have a winning season. I agree. Definitely be worth it. Any others? Hopefully everybody's enjoying these fall temperatures this week too. Grant Brown says, offense has to be more consistent. Drop that touchdown pass by Tillman. Plays like that are the difference between 7-5 or 8-4 and 9-3 and 10-2. Not sure if we can consistently make the plays to be 9-3 or 10-2. Hope we do, but still have concerns. Yeah, absolutely. Brad's asking how many people on here listen to the podcast. Let's hear it. Yeah, like I said, good old Rocky Talk. Our founder Brad is the host. I'm one of the guests with, of course, one of the two Davids. You got me and you got David East, another one of our founders on Ball Societies. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. We discuss I'll obviously a lot about Tennessee football, but then we'll go down a rabbit hole and talk about a lot of East Tennessee culture stuff and inside jokes and stuff. So definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Definitely good thing. John B is in the house. He says, excellent podcast this week. Brad Frank loves delicious food. Yes, he does. And I got a lot of suggestions from Brad, even though Wong's Palace is no longer available. So if you want to know what Wong's Palace is, check out the podcast. Man, did we end up? I think we must have added some of that stuff down. That was a long discussion. Poor Jamie was waiting for his question, but we got it in. Miss K says, have you ever noticed when Nick Saban gets upset? Yes, but every game. He kind of ducks his head and he'll fire off from time to time. He's an interesting man. Brad says food makes everything great. Absolutely. Some of the best food is right here in East Tennessee and Knox County, especially like I said around UT's campus. Hopefully we'll have a discussion of that probably in the bye week. Any others? Like I said, we're doing good so far. Had a huge number before the microphone decided to choke out, but I'm glad everybody's kind of tuned back in. Like I said, maybe watching Price is Right on Pluto TV was not so a smart idea. Try to do a live stream, but hey, you live and learn. Yeah, considering it's an Akron week, not a bad turnout. Yeah, absolutely. John says Dees was brutal with Lee Corso. Yeah, he was probably the more cynical one of the three. I went down the political route. I was trying to basically say, you know, I'm, you know, I think Corso's prime run at game day has pretty much come to an end. Yeah, weekend at Bernie's. But you know, if he's happy doing it, might as well keep him on there. I mean, I think he knows when his time's going to be up. But yeah, that first game day that it was a little rough when the season preview. David Morrison once again with a diplomatic answer. Absolutely. kind of beat around the bush, if you will. Any others? Any other Any other places I need to go eat in Knoxville that I've neglected almost 37 years? He was in left field without a glove at first episode. Yeah, Lee Corso the puppet. Yeah, bless his heart. He tries. We can go on a rant on Herb Street, but we're not going to here. Excuse me. Hit my knee on the desk here. Like I said, John says Gus's chicken. Yes, I gotta try Gus's out. You remember? Ever had a Subway in Knoxville? Excellent. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Remember several years ago when Man vs. Food came up to Knoxville, and what was his name? Adam something. He went to like Yale Steakhouse and went to that. Oh, what was that burrito place he went to? I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been years since that episode aired. Anyways, I need to try those places. I think that hot dog place he went to is not in business anymore. But like I said, I've never been to Litton's. Never been to Yale Steakhouse. So I'm weird. Anyways, podcast was lit. John says, I hope Hooker targets McCoy a ton and we get a running game going Saturday. I agree. We need 3 running backs, Morrison. Yeah. I agree too. Like I said, Small and Rod are fine for what they do, but like I said, who's going to be that third running back? I want to see Dylan Sampson get in a little bit more. This guy says, anyone like Olive Garden or Ruth's Chris House or the Chop House? Yeah, never ate Ruth Chris. I think I've ate Chop House once, and I've ate Olive Garden several times. Damon's on the River. Thank you, Eddie. I'll put that on the list. Of course, Calhoun's is another big one, which I've had. And Smoky Mountain Brewery. Yeah, like I said, is it going to be Dylan Sampson or is it going to be Justin Williams Thomas? I think Sampson probably right now is probably the better choice than Justin Williams Thomas, and that's just because he's a freshman. Still need to learn the game a little bit more. Brad says, really love Wendy's in Knoxville. Burger King is excellent too. We talked about also Crystal at 1 a.m. Kevin's, see. Kevin says, for our guys who have an off, we still play good. Can't wait to see where everything is clicking. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. You can always eat at Crystal. Yeah. Yeah. I remember, well, where I'm at my current job that I'm at, when I was on midnights, me and some coworkers used to make them 3 a.m. trips to Crystal for lunch when they were still open late in the hours, maybe 2:30. I can't remember what time I had lunch. But good places to eat. See here. We'll kind of dive into what we saw this weekend in college football. Once again, go back to the podcast. We recapped the weekend. I talked about I gave a lot of love to the Sun Belt Conference with App State. Bill says Sam and Andy's. Okay, Hoagies was my go. Was my go-to back in the day. Okay, I've heard of Sam and Andy's. Hers were good. let me go to John's question. How do I like our chances in England versus Florida? I feel pretty good. Like I said, I want to see, can we contain Anthony Richardson? Uh, if we limit him, I expect it to be a solid win. I don't see him beating us with his arm. The legs is what kind of kills me about him. Everything else, I feel very confident position wise. This guy says you can burp a crystal 2 weeks after you eat it. Yeah, you can. Um, going back to college football over the weekend, Sun Belt Conference, I gave a lot of love, especially the Appalachian State defeating Texas A&M. Even though, I'm not shocked that they upset another big time college football program, but the way they handled Texas A&M, only holding them to 14 points and just proving that offense Jimbo Fisher ran is well past its expiration date. Man, they got a lot of problems down at College Station. And then Marshall going to Notre Dame, pulling off a huge upset win. This is the first year Marshall's been in the conference. Georgia Southern, ending Scott Frost's tenure at Nebraska. Thoughts and prayers in the Nebraska football program. They got a long way to go. And not a short time to get there, but a real long time to get there. And then Old Dominion, I forgot Old Dominion joined the Sun Belt Conference. They upset Virginia Tech back in week 1 on their home field with the broken elevators and everything else they went through. So shout out to the Sun Belt Conference. Brad says if Kentucky beats them down, I'm confident of also take care of business. Yeah, like I said, Kentucky beating Florida down at the Swamp. That definitely helps out. Like I said, Kentucky plays Youngstown State on Saturday. Florida plays South Florida. So not expecting much out of those 2 games. Kevin says, Brad Frank, yeah, and even Kentucky was off. I watched that game. Yeah. Like I said, it's pretty cool I guess it was kind of cool to see Kentucky beat Florida. Yeah, Brad's going to the Florida game. Sold out. He hasn't been there first time since 2010. Floyd asks, does it surprise you about Notre Dame? Kinda. Like I said, when they went to play at Ohio State up at the Horseshoe, it was kind of a close game, and it looked like Notre Dame, like I said, they were hanging in there with a very high-powered Ohio State team. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe they'll be fine. But then after that Marshall game and struggled, Notre Dame's going to have a tough time with Marcus Freeman under their first year. Yeah. David Morris. Okay. Who are the commentators for the Florida game? It would be Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson, the CBS crew for Florida. Saturday's game is Drew Carter and Aaron Murray. And let me look up this sideline reporter so I can give it to Brad here. I wrote her name down. Okay, here we go. Her name is Ashley Stroline. I was trying to think of her name. Let's see. So that's the sideline report for Saturday. Are they good? Talking about Brad and Gary, I love Brad Nessler. Brad Nessler's probably one of the best commentators out there. Unfortunately, he's roped in with Gary, who's probably one of the worst total analysts out there. So he's kind of, unfortunately, not on the good end, which is unfortunate. As far as Drew and Aaron Murray goes, I don't know much of how they do their commentaries. They're kind of young. I've heard Aaron Murray call some of the CBS games, and he does okay. I don't know much about Drew Carter. Who are the officials? I unfortunately don't know. I hadn't looked that up yet. Who knows? Let's see. Brad says football is not the same, folks. Have you ever seen so many smaller teams competing with big schools? Yeah. Okay. Brad says he knows her, and anyone named Brad's great. Not one talking about Brad Nessler. Okay. Yeah, I think when it comes to these smaller teams upsetting, I think a lot of that has to do with the transfer portal. That's kind of the big reason for me. We see obviously with the freelance of the transfer portal, we're seeing more players just kind of spread out. They started at whether it's an SEC school or an ACC school or Big Ten school and never got on the field and be like, okay, well, I'm going to go back home or go to this school and become a star. And that's where I see where a lot of balance of these smaller teams getting up to them, and I think just teams are recruiting better. Yeah. Floyd asks who does Florida play this week? South Florida. Yeah, they are playing South Florida this weekend. That's a 7:30 kickoff on the SEC Network. Let's see. Brad says, or excuse me, John says he likes the competitive nature. Smaller teams making good in these games. Saturdays are much more interesting. Yeah, like I said, so far the first 2 weeks of the season kind of has an eerie feeling of the 2007 season, where it was like upset galore every week. So I like it. I mean, like I said, I mean, there's not too many sports that you can just go through a 12-hour span and just like chaos happens. I mean, some pro sports from time to time, but college football stands out on its own. I mean, it's just a Wild West show every weekend, and it's the best 14 weeks of the year. I mean, and they go quick too. And it's just like going through a tornado, or well, probably shouldn't say a tornado, but like just a whirlwind, if you will. Um, Brad says first 2 weeks have been unreal. Yeah, I mean, week one. I mean, even going back to week 0. I mean, now we know Scott Frost is not at Nebraska anymore. But going back to week 0 with Northwestern Nebraska, just that game, and then week 1 with Florida upsetting Utah, and then this past weekend with the Sun Belt teams beating everybody. AJ says, you think the Kentucky game will also be a sellout? I can see it being a sellout. Depends on where both teams are record-wise. Should be. It could possibly happen. Brad says, where should I grab lunch on campus for the Florida game? Yeah, because Wong's is not there anymore. Or I don't even know if Sawyer's is there anymore. That's where Brad went to. Floyd says, only thing that could have made the first 2 weeks better if Texas was beating Alabama. Yes. I would give Texas credit. They hung in there with Alabama. I was not expecting them to hang in there, but credit to Steve Sarkisian. That team came ready to play. Quinn Ewers was all the hype. Unfortunately, got injured in the first quarter, but man, that first quarter he was lighting them up. And Hudson Card did a great job too. I mean, they really pulled back the play calling once he went in there, but I thought they did fairly well. The defense really went after Young. That intentional grounding call was stupid. That was a terrible call. I thought it should have been a safety or at least an incomplete pass, and they gave Alabama that free play. That could have really turned the game around, but money talks, I guess. I don't know. Any others? Like I said, big week college football also coming up. Probably not as far as like the big time matchups this week. I mean, there's still some decent games. You got Miami going down to Texas A&M. If Appalachian State did beat Texas A&M, I think that could have been a very fun game. It's a late game. It's like a 9 o'clock kickoff. You got Georgia going down to South Carolina. I expect Georgia to win big there. BYU and Oregon. Oregon climbed back in the top 25 this week. So good little West Coast game there. BYU had a huge win against Baylor last week. Floyd says, I predict 10-2 for Tennessee. Could possibly happen. I think, like I said, some of these what-if games are starting to lean a little bit more towards our favor. Brad said, big game Saturday. Well, try to make them big, I guess. I'll say interesting games. Our game's not really a big game. Probably some big scoring. That's about it. But I guess that's probably why. Well, you got Penn. Edison was too for Floyd. Penn State and Auburn could be quite interesting. That's the CBS game. Floyd says lose to Georgia and LSU. Oh, so you're going with the Alabama. You're picking us to beat Alabama. That'd be huge. I'll say this about Alabama. They got some tough road games coming up. I don't see them going undefeated this year, or at least going into Atlanta undefeated. I mean, think they got to go to Ole Miss. They got to go to LSU. I think Arkansas. I think let me make sure I'm not talking out of my head here. I'm pretty sure they go to Arkansas. Let me pull their schedule up here. Yeah, October the 1st. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I think Arkansas upsets Alabama at home October the 1st. Oh goodness, Bryce says if we beat Bama and run the streets naked, that's an ugly sight. Now, of course, I made that prediction and said that Arkansas beat Alabama, and then they'll probably turn around and beat them by 50. But they got some tough road games at Arkansas, at Tennessee, at LSU, at Ole Miss. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen. Johnny says not going to happen. Floyd says Texas A&M beats Bama too. I don't know. Yeah, they beat them last year, but I don't know. I think this year's a little bit different. Texas A&M has got a lot of issues. But any given Saturday, yeah. Like I said, I didn't think Appalachian State would beat Texas A&M or Marshall beat Notre Dame. So, yeah, anything can happen. It's the most chaotic sport around, or collegiate sport. Brad says Shane Beamer is still a clown, just FYI. And Brad's not a fan of Gamecock head coach Shane Beamer. Whatever Morrison says, I agree. I don't know if I'd take my word to heart. Any others? Like I said, thank you for everybody kind of tuning in tonight. Apologize for the technical difficulty at the beginning. Like I said, I think trying to watch Pluto and do this show shouldn't be doing that. So I think that's what it was. Floyd says, my son says that we can't beat Florida or Alabama because of the history. Yeah, history does kind of speak for itself, but like I said, any given Saturday, it could happen. Like I said, you get them both at home. It's going to be hostile environments. Obviously, the Florida game sold out. Should be interesting. Brad said John is your number one fan, evidently. Appreciate it. And Floyd says, I think this team will make its own history. I hope so. I think they will. And matter of fact, they did last week. Bill says, thank you. Keep up the good work. Go Big Orange. Go Big Orange to YouTube, Bill. Thank you for watching along. Like I said, we'll start kind of winding it down here. Johnny says, history plays into it until it changes. We won't know until we get out there and make it happen. Absolutely. Like I said, the players still got to play. You send an update Saturday. Yes, I'll be there Saturday. What time next week? Florida games 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on CBS. And then our game Saturdays at 7. Oh, the show. Oh, I'm sorry. Boss Society Live will be next week. Oh, actually, I'll go ahead and mention this right now. So, Boss Society Live next week's I'm gonna have to move Boss Society Live to next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. I got a couple of personal things going on next Wednesday night, and won't be able to join y'all next Wednesday. So, Boss Society Live will be next Tuesday night. That's just for 1 week, and then we'll be back to our Wednesday night regular shows. Just had a couple of things kind of pop up at the same time. Won't be able to, like I said, join y'all. And then podcast releases next Tuesday as well. And it's a great podcast. So, yep. Johnny said every week D's has been solid. You guys kill it. And yeah, thank you, Kevin. I'm sorry, Floyd. I'm reading 3 different names there. So, like I said, so Boss Society Live We're going to move it to Tuesday. Like I said, of course, next week's Gator Hater Week right here on the Vol Society Network. We got a lot of cool stuff for that. Like I said, Vol Society Live, I'm going to have to move it to Tuesday next week. And thank you, Floyd. This is the first time you're watching. I appreciate it. Keep tuning in every week. Like I said, we're going to move it to Tuesday next week, but then we'll be back on our normal Wednesday night schedule coming up. Thank you for joining for Brad. There you go. Thank you for joining. All right, we're watching out for each other here. Yeah. John says number one Gator hater. Yeah. I can't wait for Gator Hater Week next week. Floyd says I'll be back out. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Like I said, just a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. Florida's week next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for the podcast to come up. Like I said, please go back and listen to the first 4 episodes of the podcast for Good Old Rocky Talk. And then, like I said, we're going to have a big one next week. Going to drop on Tuesday. As far as the rest of the week goes, we got Tailgate Thursday. Going to be posted around 4 o'clock tomorrow. Pre-recorded little 5-minute preview of the college football weekend. Plus, even though I already announced it on the show, the high school spotlight game of the week. And then Friday, and then like I said, we'll have the high school spotlight game of the week on Friday, and I'll give you a final from there. And then, like I said, I will be at the Akron game on Saturday. So I'll be on the Facebook page dropping the Facebook stories along there. Floyd says, does anyone have tickets for Saturday? So I just got mine. If anybody knows, message Floyd there. So like I said, I'll be there Saturday. I'll be dropping Facebook stories, kind of showing around campus, different stuff, and a bit of a preview, if you will. And so it should be a lot of fun. Brad will be up there on Saturday. I'm sure he'll be doing this. I'm sorry, next Saturday for the Florida game. Clarify that. So I'm sure he'll be doing that too. And then, like I said, Gator Hater Week starts that Monday. We'll have Josh Heupel's press conference. We'll share their video on our page so you can watch along. That'll start around 12:15 Eastern time on Monday. Floyd said, "Oh, a total shoulder replacement would be the only game I'll be able to see." Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that, Floyd. Hopefully, it'll come out on the good end there. Hopefully, you get to go. Like I said, Josh Heupel's press conference will have. Brad said, "I'm going live Florida game for the running of the tee." Yes, one of the great traditions. Ball Society Tailgate Florida Week. Who knows? And then next Tuesday, like I said, we'll have the podcast drop on Tuesday. Good old Rocky Talk, and then Ball Society Live special Tuesday night episode, and then kind of the normal stuff, Tailgate Thursday, and for week 4, and then we'll have some other cool stuff for Gator Hater Week coming up that next week for Florida Week. I can't believe it's already almost Florida Week. Like I said, a huge game coming up that next week. Like I said, we got to take care of Akron this week, which I feel very confident about. Brad says next week's going to be insane. Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and start winding it down. Like I said, thank you for everybody tuning in to Ball Society Live. Like I said, apologize for the beginning. We won't watch Pluto TV while we're trying to do the show. So that'll be on me. So, so like I said, thank you for everybody. Even after the technical difficulties, we still had great viewership. Thank you for everybody. Next Tuesday night, we will do Vol Society Live at 8 p.m. And we'll get it rocking and rolling. So have a great night, everybody. We will, like I said, make sure you follow along throughout the rest of the week. Quick news and notes. Tennessee baseball team launched their 2023 baseball schedule. There is going to be 5 weekend home series, so make sure you check out the Facebook page. And for the schedule. So, like I said, thank you to everybody, to Floyd, Eddie, John. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you follow along on the social media pages, and we will talk to y'all next Tuesday night, just for 1 week on a Tuesday night. Then we'll be back on the Wednesday schedule. So until then, this is David Morrison for Vol Society Live. Have a great night, and go Vols.